Hello, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the Rockland Sewer Commissions. It's a working session. The listings of those on the agenda are those matters reasonably anticipated by the chair. Not all items, in fact, may be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This meeting is being taped for playback later on YouTube. With that, I'll take a motion to open the meeting.
I'll make the motion to open the meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor, Mr. Ross,
Yes,
Ms. Valley?
yes.
And Charlie's a yes. Reason I wanted to have this, I felt this meeting was fairly important to put up on tape is, we met with the, representatives from the Naval Air Station, Brookfield, Properties, and Mr. Twoig, who was, heading it up. And the purpose of the meeting, was we put some strong language in the letter to the MEPA process, which was they took exception to, as well as the Board of Selectmen. But I will stand by those comments that the MEPA process was to state your environmental concerns, and everything we stated were bona fide environmental concerns regarding sewer. And they're all supported by facts that can't be denied, facts that can't be misinterpreted. Mr. Twoig took exception to that, and I said, well, in all fairness, they never really put forth a plan. They said they'd work with us. Well, that's not a plan. What would they work to? We had nothing to go by. So I just stated, I said, and as I explained to him, we wanted to establish a level playing ground. I want to work with them. The board was very clear that we want to see that this project works for the town and for them. But we can't deal in fantasy. We're going to deal in facts. So we came away with that meeting. It was a very productive meeting. The way it opened up, we had Weston Wright Pierce do basically a 30-minute presentation with overheads. Then we had a question and answer period in between while it was going on, and afterwards. They presented the facility study, the CWMP, the different aspects of the facility study, as well as the facility upgrade and how we'd want to proceed. And they voiced their feelings on what our constraints, being Rockland sewer constraints are. Then Weston Sampson took over, and they presented all the I&I work that they have done. They briefly went into some of the other SSES studies that were done. They were made aware of the I&I work we've done to date. The results of they were brought up to speed on the metering study. The results of the metering study, which were not really helpful, finding that out of the 260,000 gallons of potential infiltration, only 28,000 was realistically available to go after. And that, however, there is still $500,000 worth of work that needs to be done. The base felt that we were not aggressive enough on our I&I investigations, and I tried to explain to them that we've done more than we could have in the past, more that's been done in the past years, and we're really our hands are tied by budget constraints. We simply did not have or do not have the money. I'm told we went over with what we were going to be doing in the near future, and they said they'd be open to they're not open to building a new system for Rockland, new sewer system, because they don't feel that their needs would justify the expense, the $100 million expense. but they wanted to see what capacity could be gained in town. So they were saying, okay, what would it take to do a overall assessment of the town? I told them we would get back to them, and then I'd put Wright Pearson and Weston Sampson on that. And they have put their heads together, and I'll read to you what they want to do. They are going to propose a program that consists of smoke testing and dye testing. What I would want it to do is really go after inflow, sump pumps, roof drains, etc. So they want to go out, we're going to propose to them that they conduct a townwide smoke and dye testing, thorough building inspections. We went, I told them what we found on, it was the Jefferson School. When they were tearing it down, that the roof drains was connected directly to the sewer system. And one of the gentlemen, Bob Dela, who grew up in town, said he wasn't surprised. So we're gonna do smoke testing. They're gonna propose doing smoke testing, building inspections for illegal roof drain connections. They want to do a sewer pipe lining pilot program with areas prioritized based on the current infiltration data. Now, they may just say we're going to do one whole section. I don't know. It's up to them. What we're also proposing is doing a public outreach program, which including website information with flyers, mailings, and public information meeting, and an amnesty program for sump pumps. They're also going to propose that they purchase for the town 13 additional flow meters that we can install permanently around town. We purchased 2. And if we had 13 more, we could get a good handle on where the significant I&I problems really are in town. Now, based on the results that were turned down on the MEPA filing, they have to do an environmental impact paper saying what they're going to do, what they're going to propose to do, and that's due within the next 6 weeks, I believe they said. So Wright Piercefield in Weston Sampson will be taking a lead. Think they can pull off getting them a scope of work within 4 to 6 weeks, which should meet the deadlines for them. And it's going to take a lot of effort to pull that through together. Now they conservatively estimate that a scope of work to cover all the tasks we discussed in that meeting will cost each firm $20,000 for a total of $40,000 just to do the scope of work, not the actual work, the scope of work. And as I mentioned, so we don't have the money in our budget to cover this additional project. So I sent them an email today, and I'll read it to you for the records. Where did I set up? Oh, let me find it. Oh. Okay, here's what I've asked. This is going to the people at the base. I've asked both Wright Pierce and Weston Sampson for an estimate for cost to provide a scope of work covering the details of the system investigation to indicate areas of greatest impact, create some additional capacity. Those areas would include smoke testing, dye testing, building inspections, sewer pipe lining, public outreach program for sump pump, and the permanent flow meters that I mentioned. They can pull these details together over the next 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, should meet your schedule as you discuss with your MEPR and your environmental impact. They can serve as I gave them the price of the test. Now, these tasks will be additional to the $500,000 that we will be spending on our year 3 I&I control plan. For the time being, please direct all questions and data requests to the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners. The Rockland Sewer Commissioners greatly appreciate your assistance in this matter. I also CC'd Bob Galvin on it because I sent Bob a text last week after our meeting just so he's on notice that we have received $15,000 for them to, cover our for our engineering support on just the base project. We utilize probably, out of 20 hours for each, both, Wright Pierce and Weston Sampson have expended 3 hours with that meeting, probably, I would say 4 hours in prep for that meeting as well. So we still have some left. So as of now, it'll be up to the base people to, decide where they want to go from here. We're still going to go, forward on our program, but theirs is above and beyond our budgetary constraints. The other concerns I have that I voiced to Bob was, I want to make sure we're doing this knowing that there are no promises, no ties to the base, no guarantees. I also want to know that I also informed him that we do not want to set a precedent by saying, okay, we'll take money in lieu of connection fees. There's got to be some kind of priority, some kind of, order to this program. Now, just say they want to go with that. My concern is, okay, say they find, they're not going to find 400,000 gallons of I&I or inflow. The best I would say them finding is maybe 300,000 gallons. They need 400,000 gallons a day for their needs. But say we come up with 300,000 gallons, okay, that leaves them short. And that 400,000 gallons that they need is also without the 11-to-1 for the EPA request. Now they challenged that. And they said that was Rockland's commitment to the EPA back in 2006, but the state still has a 4-to-1. Now we can't waive it. That 11-to-1 for just a base would have to waive it to everyone. If we waive that 11-to-1, it's going to significantly impact our revenue for our future I&I. So there's a lot of things that are going to come into play that I think Galvin should be in the loop on it. Because I don't want to make a mistake and having them think that, we're going to hold 400,000 gallons in escrow for them when we have other people connected. Their game plan, from what they told Mike and I also had Robin sitting in. She earned it. She earned the right to sit in on that so she could hear it firsthand. That their game plan is to start construction in Rockland side of the base probably around 2030. So there's time to work things out. But we've got to face the fact, and Rockland's got to face the fact that I&I should only be considered as a O&M. It's like changing the oil in your car. Now we may find some big hitters and get the 300,000 gallons, but no matter how you slice it, the facility is still over capacity. So we're going to have to go gangbusters to look at off-site groundwater disposal. And the most cost-effective area to go after right now, it appears to be behind the Eston School. So we're going to have to start really looking into that aspect of it. Is that really feasible? Because there's a lot of testing that's going to go into determining that. And an awful lot of permitting as well. So that's basically where the base went. Now, the overheads that were presented to the base people, they were presented by Wright Pierce and Weston Sampson. I asked Robin to put them up on the website today. I had Robin send you guys copies. So I'd like to take a motion to formally release those overheads for public record. Do I have a motion? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And I am a yes. So those records will be available on the website under, Brookfield, South Weymouth Naval Air Station presentation of 2/22/24. Other than that, that's really where it sits. I mean, that they made it quite clear that they will not build a treatment system. They made it quite clear that there's as of now, there's no groundwater disposal options on the base. Unless the Navy changes their viewpoint. And it's again, they were quite clear that it was due to the PFAS plume.
Yeah.
Other than that, there was no real earth-shattering thing. You know, I made it quite clear we want to work with them, but there are other needs in town. I made them aware that Rockland itself would still need 500,000 gallons of extra capacity for our future growth, and be that through groundwater disposal or what have you. I don't know, but I mean, the dialogue is open. I told them would get them the scope of work. They can decide if they want to pursue it. I mean, that $40,000 will be on them to pay. And then they have all the time in the world after that to pick and choose what they want to do. And I did add one thing to Bob, and I want to make sure I read it to you. I sent this to Bob, and I said, okay, here's what I sent to Bob afterwards. He replied to that. And I said, no, he asked if there's anything else. I said, no, I sent that because I want you in the loop. The scope of work will have to be on them. It'll take 4 to 6 weeks to prepare that scope. Another 4 to 6 weeks for them to decide internally what they want to do. I further went on to say, following this scenario, and to plan it right, I'd say get them to agree to the scope cost, give them plenty of time to decide what they want to do, and if they're amenable, we could start as early as late 24 or early spring next year. But I also added this, that I said, but make sure that whatever they tell the MEPA people in their filings, we, be it the Sewer Commission, Sewer Department, will not commit or agree to anything unless there's a written agreement and funding secured and in place. So again, that'll give them time to think about it. I mean, that to do what they want, what Wright Pierce and Weston Patrick are proposing is going to be a very costly project. And it would have to be a town-wide, so you could find out where the big hit would be. So, and it's nothing that's going to be done in a 1 or 2, 3 month span. But if anything else, it'll help us get the ball rolling on the sump pumps and the roof drains. Mike, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. No, that's pretty much you covered everything, Chuck.
And question,
Hi, Sherry. Sorry.
and they understand that it's quite possible all this work may not result in capacity.
Yeah, but I mean, Wright Pierce, and Mike, jump in if I'm wrong, Wright Pierce and Weston Sampson both said that the likelihood of finding 400,000 or 500,000 gallons is slim to none. They agree that if we're going to get a big hitter, it's going to come from an inflow program, meaning illegal sump pump connections of roof drains. I don't think sump pumps alone are going to do it. I think if there's going to be any heavy hitters, it's going to be from illegal roof drains, which are plumbed into the sewer system. And then again, now you're back to private property and liability. Now, if it's roof drains, that's illegal. we can go after them and fine them. We'd have to come up with a series of fines. But, you know, to be fair, they'd need an amnesty program. But our roof drains are illegal by Mass DEP. And I think, in all honesty,
Yeah.
I didn't think that came about till the Clean Water Act, which was 72, and it wasn't promulgated till 78, so.
You know, what I'm surprised about, Chuck, is why, they had Tetra Tech there, right? A guy, Tony, Tetra Tech was present, correct?
Tetra Tech, yeah.
I'm surprised, Tetra Tech didn't want to do their own study or survey, you know, in comparison. I'm just surprised that they didn't, because that's who
Oh,
they,
well, you know, the thing is that Wright Pierce, Weston Sampson is, they wouldn't have volunteered their own services. I mean, that's like the fox caught in the chicken coop, to be honest with you.
right,
Let's keep it'd be open that, you know, I'd want our people doing it. It's for the benefit of the town of Rockland. I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing it for the town of Rockland.
right. No, I agree. I'm just surprised.
Well,
that
no, that would have been foolish. They knew we would never agree to that. They may say that, okay, they have their contractors who can do the work, but you know what? When it comes down to chapter 30, that'll be under chapter 30 work. They can, if they're what, you know, that goes out to bid.
Right.
Whoever bids on it appropriately gets the contract.
Right.
Anything else on that? Sherry, Dan? You doing good, Dan?
I'm still awake.
Viola contract operations. We met with them last Thursday, Friday. The days are running into any. No, we met with them Friday. Mike Burke, the regional manager for Veolia, sat down with Mike, Rick, and I, and we talked. Where it stands right now is that they're meeting the consumer price index, which is 4.5%. Little birdie told me they're still going to be coming back in at more, but I gave them a figure of 3.3% that will go for increase. They've also would come back and say they'll give us 40 hours of free engineering, which we could use just on the EPA filings and such, you know, the stuff that we're using John Ayotte for. But either way, I'm very confident we won't be paying more than 4.5%. They want the contract. They don't want to lose it. I brought up the fact that if it goes 5 years, it has to go to town hall for town meeting approval. And I made it very clear to them that I'm not in favor of a 5-year contract. I want to give them a 2-year. But that kind of shook them. And they also know that there's other people inquiring about this contract. So I'm very confident that I think they were going to, their game plan was to come back and say, okay, the 4 or 5% for the consumer price index plus their additional overhead. Well, I talked to them afterwards. I said, the additional overhead is out the window. I said, we're still just going to look at the consumer price index. Sludge, there's no way we could stiff them on the sludge. I mean, the sludge is our problem. We're generating it. They know sludge costs will continue to escalate. Just so you know, it went from $105 a ton, a cubic ton or cubic foot, whatever, $105 a ton. Yeah, 22 to 175 right now. So that's not cheap.
So on that note, Mike, you want to talk about the cost of chemicals? Because we think we need to adjust our budget.
No, leave the cost of chemicals. They covered that. They did a very good. I'd leave the cost. If I'll run that by Rick again. We
only have 8,000 in the budget.
Yeah, I talked to today, Sherry had asked me to talk to Rick.
Okay.
And we, what do we say? What do we say? Sherry, we rounded it up to 20
20.
K.
Yeah, when I went with the information that Veolia provided, it looked like it would mathematically work out to 16.8.
Okay, go with 20.
So 20 gives us the wiggle
Because I
room.
think we'll make that up in the savings from the contract.
Yes, I agree. Okay,
While we're at it, while we're talking this stuff here, stuff that's not on the item, you saw the email I sent to Weston Sampson again on the rate study. I took a hard look at those numbers again today. I don't think the 10% is going to cover it, and I hate being the bearer of good news. My numbers, and I'm sticking to the numbers I had before they did their rate study, is I'm looking at, no matter how I cut it, I'm looking at 12%. Now, they also only used, here, wait a minute. They used 3% for O&M. And the consumer cost index as of today for the year was 4.5%, 4.4%. So I told them to correct that. I want to use 4.5% for years 1 and 2 and 4.7 going forward. I told them to increase the $12,000 phosphorus to 20 and push that out instead of 10 years to 15. And I can probably go 20 on that if the facility holds up. But I want to see where that comes in. And I think whatever we do, we have to make a decision before town meeting on any increase for rates or what have you. We owe it to the residents because they're going to have to make some tough calls on projects like the community center and the fire station, and they have to realize that their sewer and water bills are taxed as well. And just if we left it status quo as it is right now today, over the next 5 years, within 5 years, they're going to be paying close to $450 more for sewer. If we go with the 12% that I'm looking at, they're looking at more like 6.25. And that's a year.
and that was also noted at the finance committee meeting,
What was?
the increase in our operating costs and how that would be offset with user rates.
Yeah, I don't think it was enough, Sherry. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree.
So I asked Ken to rerun the numbers with a difference two-depth scenario. I'm gonna give him 15-year and 20-year. I'd like to hold to the 15-year. But no matter what we do, we have to have an answer before town meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to have
They
that.
need this to make sound fiscal decisions. I mean, residents.
Yep.
So that's all I had tonight, other than the moratorium. I really would like to get that moratorium off our table.
Chuck, just a quick question for you, Chuck. So based on those rate increase, the study, if you're saying looking at 12%, if you were to look at the 12%, how is Rockland in comparison to the other towns? Do you know off the top of your head, are we
Yeah,
still?
I know exactly what that, it's in the rate study.
Yeah, so are we still within, with
We're
Rockland?
within the norm of other towns.
Yeah, that's
Right
right.
now,
Yeah,
with the
it's-
median, if you looked at the rate study that, I think it's on page 5 of the rate study. I'm talking off the top of my head. Page 5 will have, the cost breakdown per town. Anybody that's watching this, if you want to know what other towns are paying, it is in a rate study, and the rate study is up on the sewer department website. If anybody has any questions regarding this discussion on rate increases, please reach out to us. Don't do it on Facebook. I'd be glad to sit down with you one-on-one and show you where the numbers are and how they fall into place. And I can assure you, the board members are residents of town, and we have to pay the same prices, so we feel in the hurt as well as you are, and we hate passing it on to you because the place was neglected through no fault of anyone's, but it was, and we've got to do our best to dig out. Sherry, you gonna say something?
No, okay, no, you got it.
Okay, let me see if I got the moratorium up. Ah, I do.
Okay, the moratorium, there was one sent out yesterday, is that?
Yep, it's no change in the last one we saw.
Okay,
That's why I got it up here. We can go real quick through it.
great.
Is it moving?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
Okay, so I think we got down. Okay, one of the questions was the purpose of the. Oh, no, we added this one here. Can you see where my cursor is?
I can, yeah,
Previously approved connections with the betterment fees have been paid or exempt from this moratorium. Now, I wanted to delete as long as the new flows are equal to or below 440. Oh, no, we said the
No.
original flow amounts. We have no idea. So we added the 440. Okay, that's what that
Right.
was for.
yeah, so that's okay.
Previously approved connection with the betterment fades have been paid, but the new flows are greater than 440. Are subject to the moratorium as conditions. Okay, that we did. Okay.
Yeah.
I changed the date there.
Page 4,
Huh?
keep going,
Down or up?
no, down, keep going, moving forward.
Oh, we did that. Uh,
Okay,
we did that.
can we back up, please? I'm sorry. Back up before the conditions. There, that moratorium, before a new permit to connect, you have 2.50. And I think elsewhere we said 2.4.
Oh, no, it must be at the maximum allowable NIPD's discharge. That's a maximum allowable.
Oh, okay,
We're setting the 2.4 as a condition.
okay,
And I've changed that throughout.
yep,
but they wanted 2.25 for conditions.
Oh, it was. We took that out because we need to open it, gives ourselves some room for some revenue here. The state, the EPA knew we were gonna be doing something like that. They had agreed. They have a copy of this, by the way. I haven't heard back from them.
okay. Condition 5,
Huh?
condition 5. You have
Any
any,
project application requiring flows less than 440 by Title V standards only granted for approval by a majority of the Board of Sewer Commissioners.
do we need to note that that also includes exemption from the moratorium?
Any project.
Okay.
Well, there was one I wanted to, okay, did we take this out before? Yes,
Where are we at?
down to 1.5.
Yep, that's fine.
We
That was,
took that out, yep.
yep. that
We
was
took out
fine.
the 36 because we reference it above.
Yep. Yep, that page is fine.
No, there's one I didn't add, but I wanted to go over with you. This page we didn't charge. Oh, I took out, there'll be no hearings for new connection if there are 2 applicants on the list. Because we covered it in 2.5. There'll be a maximum of 2 applicants on the waiting list at any given time. So I just delayed it 2.6 and moved up.
Okay,
down
2
low.
applicants.
Right.
Two- If you
So
look at our
actually 2
waiting list,
applicants on the waiting list.
are we talking approved?
Yes.
All right, do we need to make that clear?
No, we just
No.
leave applicants. Or we could say to
Because
No.
right now, you know, we have a number of applicants on the waiting list that have been reviewed but not approved.
maximum 2 approved. Yeah, okay.
Applicants on the approved waiting list.
Okay. They met with two applicants, met with two projects. Two approved projects.
Okay. That's fine. Yep.
And give it time. Okay, what was the one I did change in? Yeah. Okay, this one we had nothing. There's one with a backup here. There was something else I wanted to. No, we got it all. Okay, I forgot. Oh,
Good. 3.1, we're okay with that?
okay, no, maybe that's where I am, 3 point. Yeah, because we don't want to give out more than 3,600 gallons a year.
Okay,
We wouldn't be gaining anything.
that's
Gotta
true.
put a limit on it somehow.
That's just
We
36,000.
may get a mother load of 100,000 gallons. We might as well tank that in case we run into more overflows. Okay, we're down here, any new construction, we did that one.
7.1. We need to look at that.
No, we satisfied that. That was one that Doug agreed to. That's still gotta be if providing the capacity exists. Before we were gonna charge them, but we're not,
Right,
we took that out.
but is that clear in here?
Yeah, no, we don't have to, we know we're not
Alright.
charging them.
All right,
Financial service we did. Any residential property has been demolished or did we do this one? Yeah. Any residential property is demolished for renovation or construction is not subject to this moratorium providing the benefits. Yes, we did. The benefits were previously paid. The flows based on Title V requirements are equal to or less than the previous. No, we did that one. We made all those. That's a betterment. We changed that. We defined the change of use. Oh, here's the one I wanted to go. 10.2. That was saying 10 years or that. Here's how I wanted to reword it, Sherry, right here.
yep,
Okay, any structure that has a sewer stub that has not been occupied or in use for a period of 8 years or longer will not be subject to the sewer development betterment fees. However, they will be subject to permit through a maintenance, meaning saying if they've been abandoned for 10 years, 8 to 10 years, they still should take out all the permit fees,
yeah,
except for the sewer development, which is the 8,000 a unit, because they've already paid that. But they should pay the 150 for the permit and the I&I removal and everything else.
yep.
Okay, so you agree to that?
That's fine.
All right, and I dropped 10.3.
10.1. Where it says, change of use will be defined as any structure's primary purpose is changed from the original permitted connection. I'd like to suggest an example of a change of use is.
I did,
Because you're really narrowing that down tight.
well, I really did convert from residential to commercial,
Mm-hmm.
commercial to residential, municipal to residential, or municipal to commercial. There's no more you can change on that.
Okay. All right.
So I don't agree. Think it out. Is it?
Well, I just feel.
Originally permitted, can I change of use? The fees have been from residential to commercial, commercial to residential, municipal to residential, or municipal to commercial.
Commercial to municipal.
Right there, municipal to commercial, right there.
Commercial to municipal.
Say that again?
Commercial to municipal. Residential to commercial. I just feel like there's a lot of different permutations. If you just
Well, I
put,
got residential to commercial right here.
you do,
Yeah, right here.
you have residential to municipal.
Yep, right here.
Commercial resident to residential.
Municipal to residential. Yep, right there.
Residential to municipal.
Yeah, residential to commercial. Commercial to residential, municipal to residential, commercial to municipal.
Residential to municipal. I think that's all of them.
That's it.
I think that's all of them.
Okay. And we just agreed to that. We took all this out last time. That should do it.
Yep.
Do you want to read this one more time and then have a quick working session next week to vote it in or what?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll table the vote. But really, we can't let this go. We have got to get into the fees and the other thing. So why don't we make a commitment that Danny's still awake? Daniel?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Why don't we make a commitment and a promise to ourselves that we'll set a meeting for next Wednesday or Thursday that we'll vote this in or reject it in next week finalized. All right?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna send it to Robin and ask her to send it out to all of you for next week.
Sounds good.
Save. Okay. I'll have Robin send this out to you next week,
Perfect.
tomorrow rather. Dyer Street update. Mike Gaspar from Dyer Street was in today. He brought the final as-built in. He is connecting his units. Unit A, which is the two big buildings up on the top. All the testing has passed. Pat Brennan oversaw the testing. All the documentation is in the file. So I signed off on him today to, that he's able to connect. He's got two other units planned.
I'm sorry, this was one unit? This was for one building?
No, this is for the two buildings that are up top, the initial, that's considered building A.
Okay,
He's gonna have two more buildings, which we'll call B and C. They're gonna be, again, multifamily. Then he's gonna have two duplexes. He acquired additional land, but that's down the road. That's gonna be covered with separate permits. The one thing he asked if we would consider, and I told him we'd have to bring it up to the board and to remind us at the time. If you recalled, he went from X amount of units down a few units and he wanted a refund. And we had said, no, you paid it. It's gone through some times. And I said, but if you want to try again when you're doing the others, maybe there's some concession we can work out. That's up to the board, majority decision. So he'll bring that up at the next meeting, I'm sure of.
okay.
This site still needs a lot of work.
We don't have those plans for the other buildings or
No, no,
we don't
no.
have anything.
They're way
anyway.
down the road. He's gotta go to Concom and all that on him.
Yeah.
That's all I had. So finance capital planning meetings, Mike Sherry, how'd that go?
Okay. It went well. As I said, the finance committee, which was discussing the budget, did take note of the increase in our operating costs. We went through it line by line and they were satisfied with our explanations. Their concern, as well as ours, is the increase to our residents for the user fees, which we are going to do our best to keep as low as possible. They did ask about the naval base, and we assured them that we're in discussions with them. For the
What is that?
capital, who's making noise?
Not me.
For the
Nope.
capital planning, we are ready to submit our final list of articles. Questions to you, Chuck, regarding the 5-year contract extension? We'll still submit that to
I would submit it.
town meeting for approval. Doesn't mean we have to follow
No.
through on it. The article for borrowing, that is the 12 million for the tertiary phosphorus. Doug has requested, how much do we really need and when do we need to access it? At the capital planning meeting, there was quite a discussion on all these different phases of the plant upgrade and whether we're doing the aerators and clarifiers or the tertiary. And, Doug suggested it all kind of go under a bigger umbrella of plant upgrade, so that as these changes are mandated, we can make them without being too locked into what we've been saying. But he does need to, in order to get an approval at town meeting, he does need to know how much we really need. And then he's advising, when do we really need to access the funds? Because that will make a difference on the debt interest, of course.
Yeah.
So we can.
Well, we'll
can-
know, we're waiting on Nixon to come back with, the clarifier, the numbers on that. We have a planned meeting next week of the, core team,
Great,
and hopefully we're gonna have decisions then.
great. Okay, that'll do it. He did say that, we can get the authorization at this town meeting, but that doesn't mandate that we go out and get the money immediately. We can fold it into our timeline. So next week. And I did tell him that that's, in discussions, and he completely understood, but at some point we have to make a decision on what we want to put before the residents. He also explained, so as I've talked to the board and listed all these different articles, our 155,000 for I&I, the 70,000 for repairing clarifiers, the 40,000 for the tank, all those types of items. For town meeting, he is going to put those into one article for one vote. What he's proposing for both us and water as well, because town meeting is so lengthy, this will help to speed things up. He will submit a table that itemizes all the different items, but there'll just be one vote for everything. And that residents can still question an item if they choose to do so, but it'll just be more efficient in the voting process.
It'll work for me.
Say again?
That'll work. I mean, the thing that's gonna take a lot,
Makes sense.
it's gonna take a lot of discussion after this town meeting. That
Yeah,
my concern is that there's a lot of talk about residential properties going in and things of that nature, that our budget is solely focused on right now getting this plant up and running. If we have to jump the gun to do further investigations to satisfy these new residential projects coming up. It's gonna be hard for us to talk to the residents to push that all off on them. I mean, I can see the governor saying, okay, you know, we gotta go whole full tilt on housing, low income housing, middle income housing. But where is the funding to the infrastructure to support these initiatives? The Rockland residents are not gonna be able to afford that in the sewer bill. You know, the thing is too, I don't know what water's planning, but they gotta be in the same boat.
Right. Right, and I know that we are not the only town asking those questions. I received a communications, this is falling under the accounting bucket. Mike, did you want to add anything about those two meetings that you attended with me last week? The FinCom and the capital planning?
No, I mean, he pretty much said, you know, we were at both meetings. It was definitely, it was interesting. We did learn about the capital planning, but how it has to be a tangible item and that Doug was going to, correct me if I'm wrong, Sherry was gonna determine whether or not a study can be used, can be put into an article. Is that correct, Sherry?
Yes, so for my education as well as Mike's.
Yep.
We put the articles for town meeting requests. We were listing them in with our capital planning, which is the 5-year projections. But they don't want everything in the 5-year projections. They just want things that meet those criteria that Mike mentioned.
Which is, it's gotta be tangible.
Tangible?
It's gotta be greater than or equal to 50K.
Yep,
And it's gotta be what, take more than 5 years?
will last 5 years. Yep,
I'm sorry, will last 5 years.
yeah.
So like a pump or something like that, that's gonna last 5 years. So that, and then he had said that, you know, we're doing if we're doing any kind of engineering service, for example, looking for I&I, that may not fall under a capital expense, an article. Because it's not tangible.
Capital expense.
Capital expense, excuse me.
Capital.
Well,
So, yeah,
that
it
makes
was quite a,
perfectly good sense.
it was a lively very interesting and lively discussion, and he's gonna talk to one of the attorneys and figure it
Right.
out. Because if they were disallowing, if they did not want to see the I&I investigation included, our annual control. If they don't want that included, then there's a whole number of other engineering studies for other departments that maybe or maybe not should be included. So it evolved into a big thing, but
But didn't they, because
Good.
it came up, Sherry, didn't it come up that somebody had said that a capital expense, a service had been put into capital expense, it was approved some time ago, so why is it an issue now?
Exactly.
Something to that effect. Was that correct?
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's up to Doug. He'll,
Right, it was just
for the
interesting.
sewer department, we're good.
Well, the only thing I'll add is Mike, pay very close attention because you're gonna be doing this solo next year.
Not solo, but he'll be the lead.
Hmm.
I have a communication under accounting. I have a communication from Doug Lapp regarding the generator.
What was this dated?
Monday,
All right.
and yes, you are on it. So he's looking, he's suggesting that we go out to bid for the installation SAP.
Well, I copied, did you see the, no, you probably did not see the, my response.
No, probably not.
I notified Hans and, them, what the question is that they don't feel it meets, Chris Kenny doesn't feel it meets chapter 30, where it's an addendum to a contract.
Really?
What Hans was going to do, Hans requested outside bids.
Well, this is saying that Chris is recommending we do go out to bids.
Right, hold on. So Hans went out to bids. He has the bids in hand. He was coming back to work this Monday.
Oh,
So when I got that email, I sent out an email to him saying, do not open those bids. I said, send me a copy of the scope that you sent out to request those bids. So we can edit it and resubmit it as coming from Rockland. Doug can advertise it on Combis. And the bids will come to the sewer commissioners. That's why I do not want to know what the prices were. I don't want him opening them up and giving out information. So once I get that from Hans, he had his hands full today. We were missing each other as we were going along.
yeah. Okay.
So I will have those in hand by the end of the week. I'll have it edited to as it's coming from Rockland. I had him also send it to Chris Kenny to get his legal mumbo jumbo in that he wanted, which he already looked at previously, so that should not be long. As an engineer with 40 years background in major capital improvement, including building facilities, transferring divisions, I have never seen a horror show in my life like this generator. I think it's absolutely insanity that it's gone on a year and a half now, and it's still no bids in hand.
Yeah.
Too many people have touched this. But anyway,
Okay.
at least the damn thing's on order.
That's true. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we got off light. I was talking again, that gentleman from Dyer Street. He's been hung up on National Grid for over a year and a half on the transformer issues, and it's still not rectified.
True.
Okay, so what else you got, Sherry?
That's pretty much it. Let me look.
About
We have an article. Hold on, we have an article that's going to expire this year for SSES. There's still $4,400 in the account.
Transfer it over to us.
When it expires at the end of the year, we can either request to have it reappropriated, put it in another account that we need it for, or it will go into the retained earnings. We
Either
lose
way.
money, but
Yeah.
I know you, Chuck, if you have something you want to spend $4,400 on.
Let's
SSES.
just soon put it in the general kitty, because we maybe buy another finger to plug into the dike. Bob is working on the bylaw and the rules and regulations, so that'll be squared away. I touched
Okay.
base with him on that today.
Bylaws. We had talked about a bylaw for the sump pumps and so forth.
That's what he's working on.
He is working on that?
Yep, he has it.
Okay.
He
All
has
right.
the verbiage, and he's going to be putting it in.
Are we keeping that separate from the laterals? Are we gonna have two bylaws?
No. That's covering the sump pump is covering the laterals. The way it's reading is to that the laterals have to be inspected, and we'll also be looking for roof drains and say. Let me see.
I'm suggesting we keep the laterals separate, and I'll tell you why, because last year there was an article proposed from the water department where they wanted to institute fines for something or other, and
Oh, no, I'm not even touching fines right
no,
now.
hold on. It was not approved by the townspeople. And I just know my personal reaction when I saw that laterals might be included was, kind of a knee-jerk thing. So I don't want to jeopardize the sump pumps because the laterals being included.
No,
And
let me read
if
it to
keep
you.
Yeah, if you keep it separate, it will allow for a staged approach to this whole thing too.
Okay, it is, I do have it in a staged approach, so. The proposed bylaws are gonna institute it, that the reason for this is it's the biggest source of inflow is from private lateral service connections, sump pumps, and illegal roof drains. Most buildings of this age have clay pipes or cast iron piping, which does not age well, but were accepted material back then. Now, I'm saying this will give the sewer department a means of checking the connections, identify if they need repairs at the point of sale. So here it is, by law, all existing properties connected to the Rockland sewer system preparing for transfer or sale of the property shall contact the Rockland Sewer Department for an inspection of the existing sanitary sewer system connection lateral for the purpose of identifying connections in violation of these rules and regulations, bylaws. Sewer inspections connected by the sewer department may include procedures as required to verify legal connections to the sewer system, parentheses, sump pumps, roof drains, visual inspection of exposed piping and drainage systems inside and outside the building. And this could be done through smoke testing and or dye testing. Mostly it's going to be done with camera. I wanted to add camera there. The sewer department, at its sole discretion, may require the connection to be repaired or replaced to correct the defects prior to the sale or transfer of the property. If the connection is found to be made of clay, asbestos cement, cast iron, or unknown material, the property owner may be required to conduct a sewer line camera inspection and provide a copy to the sewer department. All work related to the repair of sewer connections must be performed by a licensed drain layer, according with the rules and regulation. So I think that covers it. I didn't mention fines yet.
No, but
Go ahead.
that, all right, so that includes laterals.
That includes laterals. Connections to the sewer system.
Okay,
And if the building is older than 40 years, I can guarantee you it's going to be vitrified clay piping. And
okay,
if you camera it and it looks sound, no problem. But if it's leaking and it's a source of I&I, then hopefully by then we'll have some kind of program in place to help the
right, That's-
the landowner, because
that's
What
it.
I wanna
We
do
need
is
to help
come up
out our
with this.
residents.
we're gonna come up with this, and then we'll come up with an amnesty program, say, okay, just tell us, we'll come in and inspect it, we'll let you know, we're not gonna fine you or anything. But if it's found to be illegal, we're gonna say, hey, it's illegal. And you're gonna have to correct it, because if it's found by, after we go out and do the testing, say, through the base program,
Yeah,
then they're on the hook.
and those laterals could be fixed with the pipelining?
Yeah.
Most likely.
A lot of the ones that we did, remember when I changed the program? Back early last year, I told them I wanted to go with that injection type.
Yeah.
The grouting. That sealed most of the service connections that we did on that line. I'd do the same thing. If we could seal it from the street, then it's on nickel, which is great.
Right,
They may be able to use the same process, which was fairly inexpensive
okay,
from the house.
that is my concern.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to prove the theory out on the street side,
yep,
and it seemed to have worked.
yeah,
At least to give the homeowner an option. Now, if a homeowner may say, no, I don't want to run the risk. If we're gonna dig it up and put it in PVC, end of story.
that's
A lot of these houses may not even have cleanouts.
right. And then the inspections, we will need to establish a budget for that.
Would have to expand, but that's down the road. That's
Okay.
for further discussion.
Good answer.
What I wanted to do is at least get it on the bylaw, on the book, and give everyone a heads up, say, hey, this is a source, we're gonna have to find some capacity. And we've tried, we've really, from the results are obvious, it's not there in inflow, and rather from infiltration. So now we gotta go after the inflow.
Gotta look at the next, you have to look at the next
And if you look
Possibility.
at it, that's exactly what our I control plan is said to do.
Yep. And you want this bylaw to be presented at this year's town meeting?
Yep.
All right, I'll make sure that gets on the list for Doug.
Yep. And again, like I said, Galvin's working on, he has a copy of it, and I triggered him again today on it.
Okay,
That's the town meeting. That's what, May 7th, I think?
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, okay.
yep.
Okay, Michael, where do we stand on the digester?
Yeah, sure. All right. Bring it up. So I got an email from Wilkinson, and I asked him for the status update, progress. He said, so far they've completed the submittals. They were approved. We have submitted the variance to the state, and we'll be following up midweek. This was on Monday. As soon as the variance is approved, all the equipment will be reordered and piping will be started. We will be on site soon after the variance is approved to start hangers and piping. They're going to be on site tomorrow, which is 2/29 from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. as a recon visit. And they're anticipating to start on March 6th. That's the early.
You're gonna be accompanying them tomorrow with Rick, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Mike, did they give you like a project plan? Like a list of, we're gonna do this, then this, then this, then this,
Yeah,
And,
did you get a
uh,
copy of that?
Yeah, timeline.
a timeline, yeah.
Mike, can you send that copy out to them, to the board members again?
Let me see.
I may or may not have got it,
Well,
so,
you probably
Oh.
did, but you know what, when we met with Wilkinson, you guys weren't there, it wasn't a board meeting.
correct.
They gave us, whole, sheet, it's up on the board down at the plant, but what
Oh, okay.
I'll have Robin send it out to everyone tomorrow, so we have it. And
Super.
Mike, keep us abreast each week on that, or give us updates on that as it progresses, so. Cause the reason I'm saying that is that really got out of hand last time with them, and I wanna make sure that. You know, that Murphy's Law don't come into play this time around.
So what happened last time? They were just what, late?
Late, missed deadlines, it was just. I'd rather not go into it on the air, but let them.
Okay, that's fine. No, I
have
just
Rick
wanted,
bring it up to you.
I just wanted to get an idea, but okay.
Yeah, no, have Rick fill you in on it. Or
All right.
Robin. Other than that,
I have an item, it's not on the agenda.
go for
just-
it.
It came to my attention over the last couple of days. I recall, there was some emergency drainage work being done up on Spruce Street. And it's come to my
Yeah,
attention.
a head wall.
Yeah, it's come to my attention that this might be impacting French's Stream. And I'm not sure if the proper permits were pulled. I
Well,
have
if it's
no idea.
impacting French's Stream, it has to go to Concom.
So my question is, where the sewer department is sharing drainage with the highway department. What is the responsibility of the sewer department?
Well, in my opinion, if David is saying that it's an emergency work, it's his obligation to contact
Okay,
Conservation Commission. He knows the
the
rules.
highway would handle all of
Yeah,
that.
highway,
Okay,
French's Stream, he may also have to notify Mass DEP.
okay. Okay. I just didn't
No,
know
I
where
would
we're
say-
sharing.
No, I would say that's Dave's responsibility.
Okay. Good enough for me.
You may want to drop him a quick email on that, because if it impacts French's Stream, that I think by
That comes-
regulation, he's got to contact Charter, he's got to contact Conservation Commission, and I know Mass DEP. if it's French's Stream.
Okay, I'll do that. Or
And
actually, I'll talk with
so
Mike.
we have it for our records to cover us.
Yep. Okay. That is all for me.
Mike, Sherry, thank you very much for the work at FinCom and capital planning. But I can't stress enough, we've got to get this moratorium off our plate, and we got to start looking seriously at fees.
Yep, yep. I would also, Robin sent out some suggestions on fees for our next discussion.
That is going to be,
I'd like,
I,
yeah. I'd
well, I
like to
didn't
take
want
that
to
up.
tie that, I didn't, I didn't want to put that up now, although some of it could have been implemented.
No,
I
no,
want to start, we got too much on our plate right now, especially with, when the base was coming up, I was having
Yeah.
trouble focusing,
Yeah.
to be honest with
no, no, we'll include that with our fees discussion,
you. Okay,
definitely.
that's all I had.
Okay, me too.
With that, I'll take a motion in the meeting. Dan?
I make the
Oh,
motion.
dude.
I'm
Tell you
only-
what, those toothpicks in the eyebrows really worked out well for you.
And extra large coffee.
Okay, I'll take a motion in tonight's
Now you're gonna
meeting.
be up till midnight. Second that motion.
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Thank you very much.